Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's begin. I just want to really welcome everyone and just really express how beautiful it is to see you all, and welcome to new friends who are joining us for the first time. Um, we have a very sweet and exciting time spent together today, and I really just want to acknowledge you all for being here and choosing to spend your time with us. Thank you very, very much. So what is synergy anyway? Basically, very basically, it's the coming together and sharing of ideas and feelings and dreams and vision, and together really making things happen. It's collaboration, it's community, it's courage, and last but not least, it's heart. So as we ask the question, especially these days, of what it really means to be human at this moment, I think many of us are experiencing an inner walkabout, so to speak, asking what really matters at the end of the day. What does it mean to live a purposeful life? What doesn't work for me anymore? What does work? What's holding me back? These are thoughts I have continually, especially during this pandemic. And, as we witness together the old systems breaking down within ourselves and the outside world, I think we're realizing that it's time to switch out and really try on new ways of being, new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing, new ways of listening, speaking, and perhaps allowing the impulse of living like your life depended on it to really, really deeply take root. We know that we're at a critical point in our evolution, individually and collectively, and we might not always realize what a privilege it is right now to be alive. And yeah, there are times we can feel overwhelmed and chaotic as this large picture is emerging and unfolding, but I think it's really important that we remember how incredibly powerful we all are, with every choice we make, with every word we say, with everything that we do. And let's also remember the amazing power we have when we come together. And let's also remember, this is reboot time, acknowledging the fact that we need one another more now than ever. And within the context of synergy, we can absolutely shift the direction of the human experience in ways I believe we have only previously dreamed of. So I say, let's be the daredevils that we truly are and take a grand and meaningful leap of faith, relentlessly supporting one another, truly and deeply having one another's backs, and experiencing the power of the gift of synergy as we together co-create a life that works for all on this magnificent planet of ours. I say, let's just do it, because it's time. So with that, I would like to introduce a visionary, a trailblazer who absolutely stops at nothing to make this world a better place. And someone with a heart of gold, the likes of which I've never seen. And that is no other than Diane, the leader of the pack, Diane Williams, founder and president of the Source of Synergy Foundation, leader and inspiration to us all. She, along with Deepak Chopra, initiated the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. She's a founding member of the Council of the Spiritual Caucus at the UN in New York, serving as a co-chair and co-founding member of the committee at the UN in Geneva. She was a UN representative for the Tribal Line Foundation for over a decade, and formerly the director of the International United Nations representative at the Temple of Understanding program. Diane was also served, she also served as a consultant for the Open Center of New York. And the list goes on and on and on, as well as her amazing and numerous awards. Diane is a friend and an inspiration who teaches me a great deal of what it means to be human and to live from the heart. And I introduce to you, Diane Williams.
Oh, thank you so much. And welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Gift of Synergy. It's great to see so many old friends and many new ones. And thank you so much, dear Barbara, that just touched my heart. The Source of Synergy Foundation is truly blessed to have you as our beloved chair. And we are so grateful to you for infusing all of our endeavors, like this program today, with your loving heart, your gentle soul, your deep wisdom, and steadfast commitment to the co-creation of a planetary culture drawn together by synergy. And you do this all with grace and a stunning lightness of being, and we all love you so much. And speaking of love, Barbara and I wish to acknowledge our entire Source of Synergy team, including our amazing board of directors, for their dedication to creating opportunities for synergy like this one. So I saw Eve and some others. Can you please raise your hand if you're on the board so we can honor you? And much gratitude to the dream team that put together today's program, including some of our board members, Nancy Brown, Jeff Vander, Desiree Hurtak, Peter Matthies, and Deborah Moldow, and awesome consultants, Becky, Suzik, and Valerie Vander, who's also with us. The team truly embodied the power of synergy in action. And we're also so honored to also have with us today's special guests, JJ Hurtak, I just mentioned Desiree, Anita Moorjani, Elisabet Sahtouris, Linda Francis, and Gary Zukav. And to everyone that joined the program today, we're so deeply grateful to all of you for showing up to be part of this synergistic immersion. And this is where the true gift of synergy lies, with people coming together to support each other, especially now, during what has been a really challenging year for so many. And today you will have the opportunity to engage in 2 small group interactive sessions, breakout groups today, where we're all going to have the opportunity to listen deeply to each other, to share, and to dream into form our individual and collective visions for the new year as we move forward into 2021 and beyond. And we all know these times are requiring us to shift into a more community-based living, one that is calling for us to reach out more intentionally to friends, family, neighbors, and strangers that need support as we all navigate our lives, which includes so many that are just trying to put food on the table. So during today's program, we will explore together what's possible when we use the power of synergy. And we see synergy as a state of highly creative, supercharged potential, which can be activated by anyone, anywhere. And what we found in our 14 years of creating synergistic opportunities, that coming together in synergy creates a level of resonance that spontaneously generates energies, ideas, connections, and outcomes that are more significant and abundant than would emerge from a non-synergistic state. And this energy is very often the catalyst for the healing of ourselves, our communities, and our world. So we offer this experience today and future synergy circles we plan to hold to all of you in the spirit of love, community, and hope that the power of synergy will be a true blessing in your life. So now it's my pleasure to introduce 3 amazing members of our Evolutionary Leader Circle. I'm not sure if Jean Houston joined us. Did anybody see Jean yet?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so she might join us later on. So just such dear friends and extraordinary souls, Gary Zukav, Linda Francis, and Anita Moorjani. They have all contributed to supporting so many to connect to the deeper meaning of our existence. So first we're going to start with spiritual partners, Gary Zukav and Linda Francis, who are the co-creators of the Seed of the Soul Institute, which is dedicated to assisting people around the world in the creation of authentic power. And their work has inspired millions to realize their soul's greatest potential. And Gary is the author of a number of New York Times best-selling books, including the amazing Seed of the Soul, which became a #1 New York Times bestseller 31 times, which is pretty incredible. And Linda Francis has been in the healing profession for over 3 decades and has co-authored with Gary 2 New York Times bestsellers, including The Heart of the Soul, Emotional Awareness. And together, they guide the Authentic Power Program, which is designed to give people the tools and practices to create authentic power and spiritual partnerships in their everyday lives. And you can find out more about these programs at seedofthesoul.com. And just on a personal note, before I turn it over to them, I just wish to say that they are 2 of the kindest, loving, gentle, authentic, and insightful souls one could ever meet. And we are truly blessed to have them with us today to share their thoughts on how authentic power can support us as we move out of these challenging times into the new. So Gary and Linda, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
What a wonderful introduction. And I'm so happy to see all the people that we know and so many that we don't. Hope to know you soon. We all know that there's a great evolution occurring now, a new evolution. And Linda and I are dedicated to, have dedicated our lives to contributing all that we can to it. And so in the few things that we'll say today, it's not that there isn't a transformation happening, but to hopefully ground that in some way, or provide some things that will be helpful to you in a personal way, and also in terms of the highest context that we can reach for, without saying this in any sense of dogma, but speaking from our experience, which we're always happy to share. The transformation, the new consciousness that we're all talking about, from our perception is this: it is an unprecedented transformation in the nature of human consciousness itself. This is not something new in human consciousness. It's not something new to think about. It's a difference in the way that we can think. It's a difference in how we perceive ourselves. You have to help me with the time on this, Diane, because my timer's not working. This transformation in our experience has been going on for about 1 human generation now. And within another 2 or 3 generations, everyone will be multisensory, which means their perception will no longer be limited to the 5 senses. And this enormous shift brings with it new potential, new experiences, new values. It changes the way we see ourselves and the world and the universe, and it provides us with a new understanding of power. The old understanding was the ability to manipulate and control. And the new understanding is the alignment of your personality with your soul, which means with harmony and cooperation and sharing and reverence for life. And beloved, if I'm missing anything or you think of anything else, please tell me. So what we share is how to do that. How do you create authentic power? It's important now because the pursuit of external power, manipulation, and control is now counterproductive to our evolution. It's toxic. It used to be good medicine for us. Now it's poison. And you can see that by looking around us. Well, creating authentic power is the ability to distinguish within yourself between love and fear and choose love all the time, no matter what's happening inside of you or what's happening outside of you. No matter what's happening inside of you, like judgment, inferiority, self-loathing, despair, or what's happening outside of you, such as a global pandemic or another 9/11 event. How can you do that? The only way that we know is to find all the parts of your personality that prevent you from loving, become very familiar with them emotionally in terms of physical sensations in your body. And then when you recognize fear, because those physical sensations are painful, like judgment, like resentment, like rage, challenge them. What does that mean? It means don't block them out, don't suppress them, don't try to deny them, experience them fully. Where are they in your chakra system, in your 7 chakras? And what do you feel physically? Do you feel stabbing, burning, churning, aching, throbbing? If you feel any of that, you're feeling fear. And if you act on it, you'll create consequences that are destructive. And if you feel the good feeling sensations that come with gratitude and appreciation and contentment and caring and awe of the universe, you're feeling love. And if you act on that, you'll create constructive consequences. So there's just a couple of tools to create authentic power. Awareness of your emotions in a laser-like way, and the conscious use of your free will. And one of them.
So that's, and I was thinking that I want to say something about that, because to me, feeling my emotions, I've always felt my emotions. They've been clearly in my life, but what I didn't know is that I could feel them and not act the way that that emotion of upset or anger or jealousy or whatever it was that came from fear. I didn't have to act that way, even though I felt those emotions. And so learning what emotional awareness really is was so important to me, because that way I could feel. In fact, I'm feeling a lot right now, and I'm just noticing it and really doing my best to remember that I can use my will, free will, to choose love. And I can always do that. And yeah, we have a situation with our daughter-in-law who is in the process of probably leaving the Earth School, and she's with us. She's at the hospital right now, but she is coming back in just a little while. That's why we're not staying on the call. But it's bringing up many things in me, which is really so powerful. And that's when it's most powerful, when you can feel what you're feeling in your body, and choose love no matter what. And so that's what my process is right now. And I wanted to share that because I noticed when I came on the call, I felt very teary. And I just felt like, I think that it's really appropriate to share with all of you what's going on, so that we can all together, because all together we're here to support each other in whatever is happening, support each other in health, support each other in creating with love. And that's what I always want to do. And I think it's really powerful that who I have never met Anita, but I do know a little bit about her work and how powerful and the good things that she's doing to support people. And I think it's really powerful to know that she is following us on this call with all that's going on in our family. And so I appreciate that. I feel held and supported. And the thing that I do want to talk about is spiritual partnership. And I know, shall we talk about spiritual partnership, my beloved?
If we have time, like I say, we don't have our timer working here. Spiritual partnership is a new, pardon me, Diane?
Please go ahead. Yes.
Spiritual partnership is part of what the new evolution is bringing us, beloved.
Absolutely. I mean, I one thing I remember when I read about spiritual partnership in Seed of the Soul, in 89, it really frightened me. But what I know is that for me, it's been the most powerful thing, because it's a completely different kind of relationship. And it's going to, it will be the relationship in the future, where our relationships are about a partnership between equals for the purpose of spiritual growth. That's what we'll be together for, and we'll know it, and we'll be very clear about it. And many of you do know about that, but to me, that's been the most powerful learning experience, to be able to support people around me and for them to support me when they see that I may be in fear, and to let me know when I'm coming from love. And the same with, with Gary, we just love teaching about that, love sharing about that, because it's such a different kind of relationship. So beloved, I know you wanted to say some things about that too.
No, not about spiritual partnership, but I feel it's important, very important, what you said. What I want to say is that it's a joy to be with you, because I consider all of you our colleagues, our co-creators.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're in the Evolutionary Leaders. And I feel that there's no one now who is creating authentic power that is not an evolutionary leader. And how can I say that? Because not all of us are as... Here's what I want to say. To change the world, I've got to change myself. So I don't spend much time trying to change anybody else. In fact, I don't want to do that at all, because that's the pursuit of external power. But it's not change the world in the sense that we're going to create a 100th monkey or a critical mass. Change the world in a way that only the new perception, the new multisensory human species perception now can show to us that the love and fear in us is identical with the love and fear that is in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we change it here and then we can get other people to change it there, and then pretty soon we'll all change it. Everything you do that is changing yourself is a world changer. That's the significance of who we are and the power that we have. And the intellect can't follow that, and it won't. It'll call it solipsism or narcissism. But the higher order logics and understandings of the heart understand it, and they see it. To say, what can I do? When 7 billion other people aren't doing it, disempowers yourself. And when you disempower yourself, you disempower the world. That is a big statement, but draw upon your heart to understand it. Anything else will unempower you, and everything that we share to share authentic power. And we're wide open to co-creating with you in any ways that you have discovered in your own explorations, which are many and deep and varied, we know. In fact, that's one of the most remarkable things about being human. There is no single perception that can encompass the universe. It can't even encompass the human experience. So it is our unlimited creativity and creative potential, creative capability that we're now looking at, from the most inclusive perceptions to the most intimate perceptions, because creating authentic power is not only world changing, it's intimate and it's heroic.
Beautiful. I love it.
So thank you very much for allowing us to share.
Sums up everything that I would want to say, and I'm so grateful to be with all of you and in this beautiful time together. So thank you so much for inviting us.
And please get in touch with us. How can we do that, beloved? Through Deborah. I don't know if we put all that on you, Deborah, but maybe just we'll send you an email afterwards saying how we can connect with everyone that wants to connect, because we certainly do want to. And this is the time to do it. And it's actually a misnomer. We can't connect with you. We all know that we're already connected. So the question is, what are we going to do about that? And even connected is a limiting statement, because you have to have a this and a that to connect them. And from the multisensory perception that we're now entering, there's no difference. There is no difference. So from that perspective, what can we do? How can we co-create?
Well, thank you so much, dearest Linda and Gary. I know we're all sending love and prayers to your daughter-in-law. We so appreciate you being with us during this very tender time for your family. And thank you for your insights on how we can step more fully into our authentic power and choose love all the time. And we will all be holding you and your family in our hearts. So thank you.
Thank you, Diane. But I just want to say that we're not grieving. Maybe some of our family is grieving. We're celebrating. because we don't feel this is a loss. We feel this is a huge event. It's as big as being born. So why not celebrate it, experience it as consciously as we can. I'll try to remember that when my soul goes home, and we'll help you too if that's something you're
It
interested
doesn't
in.
mean that sadness doesn't come up. It doesn't mean that feelings of grief don't come up. That's
They
not,
do. They do.
But I want to honor whatever her soul wants to do, whatever that is, whether it's staying here or not, on this earth. That's really how I feel about it. And yet I still feel everything else too. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing. We're sending love.
thank you.
So
Beautiful.
speaking of love, next, I have the pleasure of introducing a truly beautiful soul, Anita Moorjani, who has had firsthand experience with fascinating concepts such as timelessness, non-duality, and simultaneous realities. And she is the New York Times bestselling author of several books, including Dying to Be Me, that inspired so many through her story of her rapid healing from cancer, through the profound insights she received in her near-death experience, including our purpose in life is to be ourselves, to live our truth, and to be the love that we truly are. And Anita, every time I think of Anita, she has the quality of being a true angel on earth, which I believe she actually is, as someone who has been on the other side and came back to share her powerful story, and the divine wisdom she gained about the importance of loving ourselves fully, and transcending our deepest fears and living authentically, like Linda and Gary were just saying, and from a place of pure joy. So it's a true blessing to have Anita with us today to share on how the power of love, joy, and synergy can support us as we move out of these challenging times into the new. So Anita?
Gosh, thank you so much, Diane, for that beautiful introduction. I'm almost speechless from what you just said, so thank you. And I absolutely loved Gary and Linda's message, and I am sending you and your family and your daughter-in-law so much love right now. And please be assured, I'm sure you already know, with all the work you've done, the amazing inspiration work you've all done, you already know that for her, it's a transition into something bigger, better, and more beautiful. But of course, for those she leaves behind, there is, of course, some emotion and sadness that's inevitable. But I'm just sending you all so much love and sending you a big virtual hug right now. So much has been said already, and I just want to share a couple of my thoughts on this transition that the planet is going through right now. And all of you, everybody tuned in, is probably already on the same page that we are going through a transformation, and 2020 is going to be a year of hindsight. And the world could not keep going the way it was going. And in a way, I believe that we brought this whole thing upon us because something had to give, something had to happen, the way things were going, the direction and the pace at which we as a race, as a human race, as the human race, the way we were going, something had to happen to make us just stop dead in our tracks and revisit what we were doing, why we were doing it, how we were doing it. And this is the one thing, no matter what you believe, no matter whether you believe it's a hoax or whether you believe it's really a really deadly disease, or whether you believe it's something in between, or whether you believe in that the government is trying to control us, whatever you believe, it doesn't matter. The one thing that we can all agree to is that this is something that has affected the entire planet. And as far back as I can remember, and as far as I know in history, I don't think there's ever been anything that has stopped the entire planet dead on its tracks the way this current pandemic has, regardless of what you believe. Every single country on this planet has been affected at some level. Every single person has had to reevaluate their life at some level. So to me, it's actually it's a spiritual phenomena. Something had to happen to make everybody stop on their tracks and take notice of the planet, of life, of the way we're living. And this is, of course, not to not to nullify the people who are suffering through it, but it is something that's affected everybody at some level. I believe it's a time for us all to really to come together and reflect the way life was before. We've had to go through something that feels worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, a lot of the things that are going on, the pandemic itself has been hijacked by politics, which has ended up polarizing people. And so people are becoming more divided. But I do believe that it's going to make us realize that enough is enough. And we have to stop blaming each other. We have to stop attacking each other. We have to stop being so divisive and being so angry at each other if we really want to move forward and tackle this. This takes me to my own experience. I did have a near-death experience where I had an opportunity to view life and this world from the other side or from a different perspective. And if I'm to actually take myself to that perspective and see what's going on right now, and in fact, see how we have come to this situation that we're in, I want to touch on that, on how it looks from this perspective and how life looks from this perspective. For people who, I'm going to use the word God, and different people assign a different meaning to the word God. And I don't mind if you use the word God or universe or all that is, it doesn't matter to me. But to me, whatever it is, whether we call it God, universe, all that is, to me, it encompasses everything. So in other words, God is in us, or we are in God. We are all part of God. So I often use the analogy of a mirror ball. So stick with me with this. If you know what a mirror ball is, it's those disco balls from back in the 70s, 80s, you know, from the time when you used to go dancing in a disco. If any of you are old enough to remember, and I think they've come back in style because it's retro. So it's this ball with all these little mosaic mirrors. There you go. There's the mirror ball. So now, if you were in a room with this mirror ball, what would happen is that on the walls, on all the walls of the room that you're in, you would see little speckles of light. And each of these little speckles of light that are being refracted off the mirror ball, each one is being refracted from one of those little mosaic mirror tiles. Now, I want you to imagine that each one of those specks of light on the wall represents one human life. It represents each one of us. And each one of us, as we look at all the other specks of light, we see each other as separate beings. Each of those lights look separate from each other. However, each of those lights are all being refracted off the one mirror ball. And even though this mirror ball consists of all these little tiles, each of those little tiles, to me, is the soul or the spirit of each one of us. So at our soul level, if you were able to view life from the perspective of your soul or your spirit, you are actually, your soul, your mirror is connected to everybody else's souls. All those mirrors all are touching each other. They're all connected. They're all part of one ball. And that whole ball, which is the collective of all our souls, yours and mine and the person down the street and everybody and the people on the other side of the planet, all our souls are connected to form this one mirror ball. That's that's the analogy I use, because when I was on the other side, it felt like we were all connected. All our souls are connected. And that is what I call God. At any given point in time, your soul has access to all the other souls. That's what, to me, that's what synergy is. It's realizing that. And that's why we can have intuition. We can finish each other's sentences if only we knew it and developed it and were aware of it from the time we were young and allowed ourselves to be more intuitive, because innately we are, because we're connected to everybody. But because we have denied that part of us, and we have only focused on that speck of light on the wall that feels separate from the other lights, and we have been taught that anything beyond our five physical senses, and anything beyond our physical body is woo-woo or unreal, we have denied that we have this connection to everybody, because all we are, all I am and all you are, your physical self, is just a reflection of your soul, which is connected to the soul of everyone else. The reason why I wanted to give you that little analogy is because the day that we start to become aware that we are actually all one, we can actually heal the planet. And all it takes is for each one of us to become aware ourselves, because we will stop being so divisive. We will stop seeing each other as the enemy. Because you imagine if each of those specks of lights see the other lights as the enemy, and imagine if it attacks the other lights, and imagine if it creates wars, and if it spends more money and time and energy in killing other people rather than feeding the other specks of light. This is what our planet had been doing until now. We spend most of our resources in dividing ourselves and in killing people than we do in feeding people. And we don't realize that in order for us to evolve and grow, we all have to evolve and grow, because you can't have half of the mirror ball evolving without the other half. If half of it is lagging behind, it's dragging the whole thing down. And so what I have actually devoted my time to recently, my new projects, all involve reminding people that we are sixth sensory being, and it is sixth sensory or more beings. And it made me smile to hear Gary talk about something very similar. And it shows that so many of us are really becoming aware of this. And one of the things we have to do as we remind each other that we are not just five sensory physical beings, one of the things that we have to do is we have to start teaching people and introducing in our schools and introducing to our kids the importance of sensitivity, empathy, compassion, because in the past, the parameters or the metrics by which we have measured things like strength has been, is what has taken us to where we are today. And we have considered strength to be things like brute force, might is right, and people who win in competitions, people who win at all costs. Those are the kinds of people that we actually vote into power as our leaders. We actually look up to them. We need to change those metrics if we want to change the world, and we need to change those metrics within ourselves. We need to start valuing traits like sensitivity, compassion, empathy, and vote people like that into power. We need to also embrace our own sensitivity, compassion, and empathy, because what I've noticed is that up until now, people who are sensitive and empathic and compassionate, they tend to hide in the shadows. We need to stop hiding in the shadows. We need to come out, and we need to actually be brave enough to take on leadership positions. And we need to also step up and kind of say, enough is enough. It's time to change the metrics of what we see as being strong in this world, because otherwise we could be at the brink of our own destruction. So that's kind of my message for 2021 and moving forward. And I am so grateful to be here, to get to talk to all of you like-minded people. I know that I've probably not said anything that you don't already know, because everybody in this group is already awake, enlightened, whatever else. You're all out there doing your thing, changing the world. It's so good to see familiar faces like JJ Hurtak and Desiree, and I noticed Eve and Alan and a few other people that I recognize. It's wonderful to see you all doing this work. And I'm so grateful to be part of you, and so grateful to be here to support your vision and your mission. And thank you so much, Diane, for this opportunity. Really, really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Anita, for sharing. It's so beautiful. This pandemic has surely affected us all. And as you said, has given us a chance to reflect on our lives and how we want to make the most of our lives. And may all humanity awaken to the awareness that we are all one mirror ball. I love that, like at Studio 54, as six sensory beings connected to all that is, so that together we can play a role in healing each other and the planet. So thank you so much for all that you're contributing to that, Anita. Very beautiful. So now I'm going to turn it over to Barbara Layton, who's going to introduce Jeff, and we're going to start our interactive portion of the program.
Thank you, Diane. And thank you, Anita. That was quite extraordinary. Thank you so much. Even though many of us know so much of what you said, we need to be reminded daily. So thank you deeply for that. What can I say? An honor, and for me, such sweetness to introduce Jeff Vander. Jean Houston has referred to Jeff as a, quote, modern day Merlin. And my experience of him is he certainly is that. Whenever I have the privilege of calling on him for his wisdom and insight, my very being is really deeply always transformed. His graciousness of heart is just exquisitely beautiful. Jeff is a former chair of Source of Synergy Foundation. He is a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle and board member of Source of Synergy Foundation, Alliance for the Earth, and Garden of Light. Jeff is also the co-founder of Sourcing the Way, which is a platform identifying strategies and opportunities aligned with life, assisting clients with their challenges, and allowing them to discover new ways to thrive on every level, helping businesses transform to adopt more social get more social consciousness into their practices. Simply speaking, Jeff is a visionary change agent. And it is my pleasure and honor to turn it over to you, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Thanks, everyone. And everyone who's spoken so far and shared such rich gifts. So let's take a few moments now to pause, a few minutes in silence and stillness. We'll get to the silence and I'll guide us in. So if you wish, you may close your eyes or soften your gaze. And let's allow these beautiful offerings to permeate our whole beings as we settle in to the resonant field of togetherness. Then notice the breath and breathe. Breathe together, breathing in and breathing out. In and out as one. See yourself in a circle with everyone gathered Feel the many, many heart and soul connections that are woven throughout this community, and so many new loving connections that are forming right now. And as we breathe together, new connectivity, new levels of capacity for co-creation and synergy and joy and authentic power, new capacities are gently being activated. With the new comes an invitation to let go of what has been, that which has accompanied us as far as it can on our evolutionary journey. In this beautiful and sacred space, ask for that which is ready to be consciously released, to be revealed. What wishes to be released, to be honored, mourned perhaps, so that we can individually and collectively step into our new capacities for joy and authentic power, for love and for synergy. And let's be together in silence while this revelation rises. And slowly, very gently, let us come back from the silence into the circle and into a growing awareness of our co-creative, synergizing, evolutionary hearts beating as one as we receive the gift of synergy. Thank you. So we'll move momentarily into an interactive process. We'll use the Zoom breakout room feature, which Becky is so adept at setting up. And we will have 16 minutes so that each one of us in groups of 4 can speak for more or less 4 minutes. And the questions to explore, well, first, what was revealed to you that wants to be released in order for us to come together in joy and authentic power and love and synergy. So the short version of the question is what was revealed to you that's ready to be released? And there's a follow-up question if you have time or interest, which is also very important. How might we consciously let go of that, what has been, what can no longer accompany us on the journey, in order to make space for the new possibilities that Gary and Linda and Anita and everyone has been talking about? Because there's a conscious process perhaps that will help. So 2 questions, and what was revealed to be released? How can we consciously let go? And we'll move now with Becky's skillful assistance into breakout rooms for 16 minutes, and then we'll come back. And now it's my great joy to introduce Nancy Brown. Nancy is a web weaver who is passionate about coaching and connecting people, hearts, and minds. She convenes salon-style explorations on the emerging leading edge of topics such as wellness and longevity, socially responsible business, environmental sustainability, and the future of nature, culture, and humanity. Nancy finds that a playful soul and an open heart are important in dancing with the quantum fields of synchronicity, curiosity, wonder, and awe. She's also a member of the Source of Synergy Foundation Board of Directors, for which we were all very grateful. Thank you, Nancy. I'll pass the baton to you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Thank you so much for leading that. And for all the wonderful messages from everyone. This so touches my heart and soul. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everyone else does too. Just a few things of what you can expect. And we're going to break out again in a moment into groups of 4 again for 16 minutes. So just start with 1 or 2 minutes each person, leaving time for dialogue, conversation, and summary. And to keep the flow going, you do have permission to gently interrupt someone if there's not enough time and you're feeling you need time. Just go ding, ding. And if you would take a nice, deep, slow breath between each one speaking so that you have an opportunity to deepen your resonance and your listening. You want to be a receiver, a listener, and a distiller of what comes up, what is emergent, what wants to happen, what wants to be spoken. So we will reconvene after that, and then we'll take about 7 or 8 experiences, sharings, what was revealed, what you resonated with. And since we are all already connected and synergy already exists, all we have to do is tune into it and utilize it. So there will be a raised hand icon on your screen. And if you want, when you want to share, if you would just press on that and Becky will put you in line at any time. So all these questions in your mind about what wants to come forward, what wants to emerge, what wants to be spoken in yourself and going forward, and for the world. How can we best proceed for all beings? And hold that in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, and just listen deeply and see what comes up. Okay, go explore. That was truly a synchronistic and synergetic experience with the people I was in the group with. I happen to know.
Very nice.
And one, Barbara Marks Hubbard and I used to conduct and facilitate salons when she was here in Santa Barbara together. And Terrence Glassman brought her, helped bring her Conscious Evolution organization to Santa Barbara. And the young man in Germany was translating her book at the time, right now. So there you go. That's a good example of it. So I'd love to hear from 7, 8 people. Just raise your hand on the button and let us know what came forward, what emerged, what wanted to be heard. How can this help you and all of the beings going forward? What resonance you touched into, what you heard in your deep listening. Thank you. Just press the hand icon on your bar and Becky will call on you.
I don't see a hand anywhere.
Okay.
Me neither.
If you don't have a hand button, you can just wave and I'll scroll through and I'll find you. We'd love to.
It's on the reactions button at the bottom of your screen.
No, I know, but
I saw someone wave up there. Raise your hand if you have something you want to share.
I see Glenda Lynn. Glenda Lynn is waving. Hello, Glenda Lynn.
There's no, I only see myself and Nancy. I don't see anybody else. I don't want to press anything. Anyway, for me, all I wanted to say is I am so honored and feel so privileged to have found all of you. And especially in times right now, to be able to share, answer the questions. But for me, most of all, it was being part of this community that I feel so grateful for, and so much love in my heart and appreciation that I'm here and I was able to be a part of you and want to continue being part of whatever it is that you guys do. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you. Have the most wonderful holiday wherever you are.
Thank you.
Raise your hand if you don't have a button.
I see there's a Silk that has her hand raised.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to understand how it works, but I'm very happy. Thank you, Diane.
Hi, Ariella. So Silk, she has her hand up.
Hi. Yeah, hi, I'm Silke. Actually, I'm the sister of this young German guy who's translating your book.
Oh,
So,
nice to
I
meet
just
you.
said, hey, there's this great meeting, just join us. And I would like to share, so from Munich, and I love this feeling of international coming together here. What we were talking in our little circle was, or what I took away personally, we were talking about more things, I would love to share with you, because for me it's really so important, is to realize that like what we are doing, or I feel it as what I'm doing, what we are doing is like really pioneer work. And that very often, I don't know, I'm confronted with my own thoughts, like, what am I doing? What is this? Yeah. I mean, other people are also sometimes thinking, what is she doing? What is she talking about? And in my near environment, I don't really have a resonance field. So there aren't a lot of people who are thinking or feeling the way that I'm feeling. And maybe just to realize this and still stick to it and stick to, for me, I call it like the voice of my own heart. This is what really wanted to emerge, I think. Again, this realization that it's so important just to do it, to live it, to feel it. And I'm really, really grateful for this synergy room here, because this is something I think we really have to get into synergy to support each other and yeah, to create this great thing that is happening there all over the world, kind of. Yeah. thank you. This is all
Thank
I wanted to share.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay, is there another hand?
Ariella, did you want to share?
No, I just wanted to say hello to all of you.
Hello.
That's it.
Good to see you.
Hi. Hi, for me too. Divine one.
I saw Robin's hand go up.
Whose hand?
Robin?
Robin Johnson?
Do you see it, Becky? Yes, that was earlier. I saw it too. Yes.
There she is.
Oh, well, hi, everyone. This was my first visit to join this group. I was invited by Diane, and it was fabulous. I just want to thank the gentleman who did our meditation because I've shared with the two breakout groups. The message that I got that I'm really going to be working on is love is not an energy of force. Love is not an energy of force. Stop trying to make people do what you think they need to do to move them into oneness or connectivity. Stop being resistant to people asking for things. Love is not an energy of force. So I appreciate everybody here. I hope everybody has a happy holiday. But for me, that's what I'm taking into the holiday, to be more conscious of love, which is not.
Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. It's a wonderful essence of the message. Yes. Anyone else? You have time for a couple more?
Maria Christina has her hand up. Maria, you're still muted.
Can you get her, Becky?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Yes. So I just want to thank everybody. It was my first experience also, and it was great. And thank you for Diane to invite me in this beautiful session. I felt deeply touched, especially the call. Sorry, I went away. Can you see me? Okay.
No, just your picture.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. But maybe you can just hear me. So in the same time and try to get back. Yes, it was a beautiful opportunity. We share our feelings, and the message for me is try to be 100% aware of myself and to express it. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Can you see?
We can see you now. We can. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, and I hope we will have more opportunity. And I think it's great what we are doing. Each one like a piece of the puzzle, and we do our part, 1% to transform our world together synergically. Thank you so much again. Thank you. I appreciate.
That's funny. I woke up this morning thinking about that example of each being a piece of the puzzle. Thank you for voicing that.
Do we have time for two more? I see Terrence has his hand up, and also Matthies. I
Good.
hope I'm saying your name right.
My turn?
Terrence.
Yes. I wanted to respond to what Robin said by suggesting that there is a wonderful book by the Dr. David Hawkins called Power versus Force.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not familiar with it, it is about how we move up to our higher chakras and the distinction between the love of power and the power of love. I also wanted to question, maybe Nancy, how many people are on this call?
Becky, do you have any idea?
Yeah, originally we had 101, and now
I think we went to 102.
102.
We got
now
a
we have
fever.
59.
That's wonderful. This is my first experience. I got the message from Nancy at 3 a.m. this morning. I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, and I was excited to participate in this. I guess my one comment was that 16 minutes wasn't really sufficient in our breakthrough groups in order to really give each person a chance to express themselves. And I found that it began cutting people off. So I don't know how you manage that differently, but I think the breakthrough groups are very valuable in getting to know one another and connecting. And if there's a way to manage it so that we can, handle that a little better. I was with each of you that I spoke with, I was interested to learn more about you and your passions, as well as giving you a reference to who I am and my background and my experience and what I'm dedicated to. Your turn.
Who's next? Thank you, Terrence. Who's next? You had someone else in queue?
I did, and then he disappeared. He's not here anymore. Is there somebody else? Let's see. Let's scroll through. You can raise your physical hand if you couldn't raise the... I don't see any more raise hand buttons, and I don't see anybody waving at... Oh, wait, I see Patricia. Patricia Rameyer. Hello, Patricia.
Hi there. Calling in from Scotland. It's also my first time. And I just felt called to say hello, to say thank you so much to you for organizing this. Gary, Linda, Anita, thank you so much for your wisdom. And Jeff, that was incredible. I wanted to share because I saw this very powerful image. And I'm an artist, so for me, everything's in visuals. It is so heroic what we're all doing together, and I think it's important to remember that. It's not easy. It's not easy to grow. The image that I saw was us all standing in this beautiful circle, and our hearts were expanding, and all the veins were going into the earth and dropping everything we no longer need into the earth. And then this beautiful energy came back from the earth from above and was spreading from one heart to the other through our arms. And it was light energy, and it was weaving us all together. And then the energy just went out into the universe, out to the earth, into the universe. And it was so beautiful. I wanted to share that with everyone. And thank you so, so much for creating this space for us to do this together.
So beautiful.
That's a wonderful, wonderful image. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is that our closing one?
Oh, do we have time for one more, or how's our time, Nancy?
Oh, Becky's.
Yeah, how's our time? Can you hear me? How's our time? Do we have time for another one, or?
Well, just know I'll say in the meantime that these will probably keep coming up, as they often do, and the synchronicities or the synergy between each other, now that connections have been highlighted. And please email us at info@sourceofsynergyfoundation.org, because it will be received, it will be utilized to help create the next container and focus for future salons. So we will be grateful for that, and it will be well received. So thank you. Is there anyone else, or shall I introduce?
There is. I see Jeffrey has had his hand up as well. So I don't know if this is the last one.
Thank you. I am dazzled by the presence of so many like-minded people. I simply want to know when we can reconvene again and keep sharing ourselves and our vision about what needs to happen to our beautiful collection of humanity.
Yes, indeed. And that's one of our purposes, to how can we best move forward for all. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to introduce next Elisabet Sahtouris, PhD, an internationally known evolutionary biologist and futurist. And as she self-describes herself, which I can hardly identify with, a cosmic snoop having congenital curiosity. Now, she's currently a professor in residence at a Chaminade University in Honolulu, and very happily in Hawaii. And she also is the author of a number of books, including Earth Dance, Living Systems in Evolution, A Walk Through Time, From Stardust to Us, Biology Revisioned with Willis Harman, and Gaia's Dance, The Story of Earth and Us. She's done TED Talks, films internationally, and she is happily working on her passions in Hawaii and living economies, teaching living economies, and trying to also get food systems started there, sustainable food systems as well. So Elisabet Sahtouris, please.
Thank you so much. Mahalo and aloha mai kako, as we say hello to everybody. And thank you so much for all the love and wisdom that's in this group and being shared. I've been asked to read from the afterword of our book, and it's a letter for the future. So I'll dive right in because we have limited time. Dearest Isa, for Isabel, Isa we call her, I write this letter to you, my newest and 5th great-grandchild, as a new decade is born, and you, still newly on your feet, run to embrace life with open arms and bright, joy-filled, eagerly inquisitive eyes. You take me back to seeing your Gram as my own baby girl, running to my open arms with the same delight. Or sometimes I leap ahead, imagining yourself at my age now, when yet another new century is already underway. I can only guess what it will be like when you look back on your own life, but I'm quite sure you will have lived through the greatest transformation in all human history. I see you reading this letter when you are 16, and I would be 100. This 20s decade past, I no longer hear. You have cross-cultural Asian, African, and European genes in your body and will naturally live your life free of the prejudice as you grow up on an earth so very different from the one on which I did. I hope that by sharing some of my own experience and lessons I've learned before I leave, that something in them might intrigue you and feed your own dreams. I see myself among your guardian angels, following your unfolding life with loving pride, protection, and encouragement. My truly good fortune as a child was the amazing freedom and joy of being let loose in fields and forests, a beautiful stream with a waterfall and the great Hudson River's banks to explore endlessly with 2 brothers close in age. Our food was organic because it was locally grown and no pesticides or preservatives had even been invented. When my own children were grown, well, I'm going to, I think, move on a little further here. From studying Earth's history over billions of years, I saw that in its biological evolution, species go through a youthful phase of acquisition and expansion in feisty competition, When that gets too energy expensive, they mature into cooperation, as that proves more efficient and sustainable. So human hunter-gatherers lived a relatively simple childhood, and some matured into cooperative indigenous societies, while others continued the youthful stage into empire building and capitalist growth economies. We became arrogant, disconnected from our Earth Mother, exploiting and polluting her as if nothing could possibly be more important than our wildly inventive high-tech lifestyle. We saw ourselves as vastly superior to nature, oblivious to the consequences of becoming a dominator species. But history has shown us that empires collapse, not only from dramatic climate changes, but when powerful elites create huge divides between rich and poor, and then too rigidly protect themselves when change is needed. Unlike trees that survive for thousands of years by bending with winds of change, human civilizations have broken under such stresses, and ours is now falling on all three counts. My efforts to make people aware of this, along with many others who understood the likelihood of climate disaster and the failure of our unjusted economy, for up to half a century now, have been ignored or disparaged as wrong until now, when finally it's pretty late. Perhaps we need the actual disasters to wake us up and to clear the way for rebuilding our way of life. You know, I expect your generation to feel an intense and just rage at the terribly destructive ways of those who came before you. In the angriest time of my own life, when my nation waged a terrible unjust war in Vietnam, the first televised war for all to see, I was beating my head against the wall in anger and anguish over napalm children and other unspeakable atrocities. And then a Bengali poet wrote me a poem with the line, "Somewhere the tears and the agony are stored into the chest of thunder." I knew immediately he was telling me that energy is energy, that I could transmute my anger into useful positive action. That one line has served me well all my life since, as I used to learn every rush of anger as inspiration for some peaceful action toward making things better. From my vantage point as an evolutionary biologist and futurist, the transmutation of energy from anger and hate to love, from war to peace, from fierce competition to caring collaboration, is a matter of maturation that I have described of our growing up as a human species. From my youth to yours, a single lifetime. We humans careened from tripling our global population to having the brakes put on our reckless expansion, from reaching the heights of competitive adolescent species craziness to waking up to see that we can and must shift quickly into cooperative maturity. As I watch the ice collapsing at our poles with hair-raisingly increasing speed, not to mention the raging fires and storms, you're still a baby rightly sheltered from the disasters in your family's arms. But at 16, nothing can be hidden from you any longer. You see the oceans swallowing huge coastal cities in gulps, untold hordes of desperate people in flight, water wars, famine, the spread of disease. And yet Earth is still a gorgeous, intelligent, living planet, fighting for its own life. It's still more suited to human life than any other in our solar system, even if we must adapt to this overall hotter climate. I thrill to what your generation will build on such foundational efforts. You have the power to carry survivors through to the light beyond this great storm. I see you bringing yourselves and your children to safe shores where you reweave the broken strands of life to build what my generation could only envision. So I leave it to you to read the rest of it. It's wonderful, like the Haudenosaunee Indians who lived on the very territory I was born on and practicing the only true democracy that's ever been fulfilled on this planet, that you will be among those who recreate it as we dreamed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elisabet. That was so touching. Cosmic Snoop, I love that for you. Great name. And thank you so much for sharing your profound letter for the future for your beloved great-granddaughter, Isa. She's really one lucky girl to have you in her world. So thank you, beloved. So now it's my pleasure to introduce you to someone you already know who has been running this program effortlessly. A bright light, Becky J. Suzik, who uplifts everyone that has the good fortune of knowing her. Through her mixed media company, Joy Fuel, she is dedicated to spreading stories of kindness, creativity, and joy. And one of the things that touches so many of us about Becky is her commitment to the gift economy, which has led her to discover that the greatest currency of all is the currency of human community. And the Source of Synergy Foundation is truly blessed to have her collaborating closely with us as a program coordinator on a number of endeavors like today's program. And her unwavering trust in the power of the generosity of the human spirit has taught us all so much. So Becky, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. It was very strange spotlighting my own video. I don't get to do that very often, I guess. Thank you all so much. This has been such a joy to be with all of you today and to hear each of your shares and just to hold this space together, really extraordinary. And I'm just so inspired by the Source of Synergy Foundation and this is the first Gift of Synergy salon that I've ever been to, and being connected, the fact that they are aspiring to look to change our relationship with money. You know, many of our evolutionary leaders and many of you all are doing those kind of investigations. And that's something that I've been doing for the last 8 years, to, instead of having an outright price tag attached to something, to be able to invite generosity and to build community with a sense of trust and connection, and come from a place of abundance instead of a place of deficit. And so we are really grateful for your presence here today. Your presence is the greatest gift of all. And we also invite, if you're able and if you choose, to gift what would feel good to you. And we're just, again, so grateful for the gift of your presence, and thank you. And I'm just like scrolling through the screen, just seeing each of your faces. It's just such a joy. So thank you all so much. And I'm going to introduce Peter. I have to pull Peter up too so I can spotlight his video. Pass the baton to Peter Matthies. Peter, so grateful that you're here. Peter is a treasurer of the Source of Synergy Foundation and also founder of the Conscious Business Institute. And we're grateful for your presence and invite you to share with our group.
Yeah, thank you, all of you, for being here. It's such a pleasure to be. I truly feel touched by you today, and I'm grateful that you're here. I'd ask you to close your eyes for 1 second and just to reach out to the people who are not on this call in your mind, who you know would really, really cherish this same energy, but just weren't able to make it or are not ready to be here. And maybe just pick 1 or 2 people that come to mind for you. Maybe those that are not so easy to reach out to at some point in time. And just include them in this circle and in this energy. Knowing that where they are is where they are. And it's part of evolution, and that's okay. And when you come back, I'm seeing, as Becky says, I'm working a lot in the business realm, and I'm seeing off breakdowns there. Yesterday, I received a call from a lady at a large automotive company She's a leader there, and she's in charge of transforming that organization. Good luck with that. And she can't sleep anymore. She has a really rough time, and she's burnt out and can't sleep anymore because she's fighting what she feels. So we purposely want to move away with these salons from the traditional way of structuring things and really create a more connected way. Because if you look out there, you're all familiar with that. There's a lot of separation out there. There's a lot of me and you. And if you look at the business world, if you look at your private world, it oftentimes comes up, me and you. Even if you step into a store or if you go online to purchase something and you're being the consumer, quote unquote, is that really who you want to be, or do you want to be the co-creator, even if you go online and purchase something? Or here, as you show up here, do you want to be a consumer, or do you want to be the co-creator? And I believe that if we want to create something wonderful together going forward, you felt the power of synergy, you feel the empowerment that comes with it, you feel the power of self-expression, you feel the power of being the co-creator, of being the God in the room like we all are. But it also requires us to take a stand, yeah, and to be the leader and to get out of our comfort zone. We were in one of the breakout rooms. There was a lady from Finton. I'm not sure whether I can't see her anymore in the list here, but she's doing her growth work in Finton for many years, but she feels called to leave, and it's not easy for her to do that. And I think many of us feel the call these days to step out here and to leave comfort behind. So just maybe one moment of reflection is that every moment that we show up, we vote. We give our energy to something, we give our time to something, we give our focus to something, whether it's the child in front of us or being here or going to a certain store and buying something. So we vote with our energy and we vote with our money as well. So if you think that this is beneficial, and I really appreciate, I'm not sure who it was who said, can we do this again? There was a lot of work that went into creating this from all the Source of Synergy Foundation members. So if you want to become part of this, we want to invite you to be making this much more of a connective effort. So that if we want to keep offering this, consider just reaching out to see whether you can help in some way to make this a more continuous effort for all of us here. And also, if you can, I want to second that what Becky said earlier, spotlight your video, which we all need to do in these days. And maybe consider gifting something so that we can continue what we are doing here as a Source of Synergy Foundation. I'm going to put a link into the chat box if you feel inspired to donate a little bit or just to share, to gift something back that would help the Source of Synergy Foundation greatly. And if not, then that's good. So I just want to really thank you for being here. It's an honor to your presence. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Peter, and thank you for being our beloved treasurer of Source of Synergy Foundation and supporting us in so many ways. You are a gift to us, and we honor you. So now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce two of the most amazing social scientists, explorers, futurists, and many other things on the planet. Doctors JJ and Desiree Hurtak, founders of the Academy for Future Science. Dr. JJ Hurtak is the author of the bestseller, The Book of Knowledge, The Keys of Enoch, which is a blueprint to advance our understanding of the universe. I know somebody texted me and told me how that book changed her life. And I know this past week they've been sending out thousands of this book thanks to a social influencer. And they do it with so much love. And recently, Dr. Hurtak and Dr. Desiree Hurtak co-authored a book with the late Dr. Elisabet Raucher called Mind Dynamics, an overview of the science behind remote viewing. They have won 14 gold medal awards for international film festivals for their graphic and animation films on consciousness exploration, including Merkabah and the Light Body, which I have a video of, and it's beautiful. I'd encourage you to take a look at that. And the Hurtaks have worked extensively in countries all over the globe to synthesize a social and philosophical understanding of ancient myths and religious beliefs, fostering an understanding of how to apply these to the larger cosmic dimension. They have shown us how consciousness development can be applied to our daily lives so that we are never limited to what is in front of us. And speaking of the gift economy, I have to say it's the quality that they bring to their work, their teachings, and their friendships. That is an example of neighbors helping neighbors in every sense of the word by always offering loving words of praise and encouragement, creating opportunities for people to tap into their own innate powers, connecting people to work together synergistically. I know they both say, hey, you have to meet this person, and they're always doing that, or being willing to pitch in and do any task that is needed. And Desiree recently worked late into the night to give us some editing help, and it was just magic. And we're just so impressed with how they're always supporting others. They just always touch our hearts with how much they gift all of us. So JJ and Desiree, I know you're going to be doing the closing ritual before Deborah has the final words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. It's great to be with everyone. And yeah, we're going to, this is really the gift of synergy of all of us sharing together. I'd like to go back to some of the thoughts of Anita Moorjani, who I really thoroughly love and always enjoy hearing her. And to add to this is something that we wanted to bring out for everyone to be part of this synergy. And some of you are familiar with this, the Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness. I actually have some screenshot if Becky wants to put that up. Otherwise, we'll just do it in a general sense because it shows so much about what Anita was talking about, that we really now need, especially those who have been living in families maybe with a little extra tension. We can share this with them. You know, the Hawaiians had actually been on these small islands, and they had to come out with a way to be together, regardless of what was going on. So the first aspect of this, and please join me, you're all on mute, but I'm going to say this 3 times. Think, as Jeff was directing us, think of somebody you really need to say this to so we can clear the energy that's there for these holidays to bring in the new year in purity and in love. So the first is, I'm sorry. So let's say that 3 times together. Think of somebody.
I am sorry.
I am sorry. I am sorry. The next aspect, and this really clears the energy when you do this, and you can do it about yourself. It doesn't have to be about somebody else all the time. It can also be about yourself because oftentimes you have this. So it's the next is please forgive me.
Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me.
And then the last 2 are equally important, whether you, again, you say it for the planet, whether you say it for relationships, or whether you say it for yourself. And that is, I love you.
I love you.
I love you. I love you. And then to really solidify all this, you have to feel, of course, this is a lot from your heart. To really thank that person or thank yourself or thank the planet for giving you life. And really clear the energy so that in the future you no longer have the limitations. Because if you hold really animosities, you hurt yourself. You know this in science, you hurt yourself more than you hurt the person you're holding it against. And that means even yourself. This is what Anita found out in her release of what she experienced with her father when she went to the other side. So let's say the final one, and then Dr. Hurtak is going to lead us in a prayer of closing. So first is the word thank you. You can say it in any language, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if we can have the camera look at the text I'm holding up. The picture here is from Peru, an illustration of the mother of the doves. Upiwashi is the term. Think of the symbolism of Anita and the butterfly and the words that Elisabet just shared with us. Think of our work in the future as being doves sent out into the world. doves at this time of inner spirituality, doves at this time of vocational fellowship that is opening a whole new world of experience, doves of ascension at this time of finding the sacred areas throughout the world that opens the chakras of Mother Earth and releases a spirit of forgiveness and unity. We behold the mothering aspect, Pachamama, or whether she's called Maha or Prajna Paramita, and all of these exotic names, we come back to our own nature of rediscovering that which is missing, the love of the divine feminine within each of us to bring world cultures together at this great, exciting time of transition and ascension. And so we look upon the mountaintops of the world, from the Andes in South America to the Alps in Central Europe, to the great Himalayas in the mountains of the Far East. We begin to realize that as we become the doves of love and light, we become the temple of understanding, of bringing together the sacred areas of the world into one glorious temple of glory, one temple of understanding and forgiveness, one temple of fellowship that reaches out to the cosmic frontier, realizing that ultimately we shall ascend as thinking and loving doves of spirit form.
And so in closing, from the mountaintops of the world, or even from the oceans that need our renewal, we ask for healing for the planet, healing for each other, and healing for the future young generation, so that we can all be together as one cosmic family.
Let us realize this great opportunity of seeing the rebirth of Mother Earth, not the death, but the new life, not the passing of the old, but the coming of the new horizon of being starborn. And here the Psalms and the Suttas combine. Here the nature of the divine masculine and feminine join and dance and glory. And here we become one divine family on earth as it is in heaven. The word said by the great prophetic teacher, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven," is now upon our lips, upon our heart, upon the top of our head, if we see ourselves as doves of light in a whole new world that is coming. Let us be blessed as the unity and the oneness of the divine in the human form.
So we wish everyone a happy, and emphasize happy, holiday season, whether it's a virtual family gathering or a physical family gathering. We now turn this over to Barbara to introduce our next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that was truly, truly beautiful. And, you know, we so often have the most difficult time forgiving ourselves, first and foremost, before forgiving others. And thank you both for that. I am sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you. So poignant and so simple in so many ways. Really stunning, thank you. What can I say about Deborah Moldow? Her love travels faster than the speed of light. She holds the entire world in her heart. It's just who she is. Deborah's commitment to the heart of humanity and creating a better world is beyond words, and it's a pleasure to introduce her. Deborah is a board member of Source of Synergy Foundation and director of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. She is an interfaith minister and founder and president of the Garden of Light. And the Garden of Light is a nonprofit website that offers a gathering place for those aligned with the emerging global spirituality. Deborah has served for over 20 years as a representative to the United Nations of May Peace Prevail on Earth International. And Deborah she made the bold move, and she currently lives in San Miguel Allende, where she leads a weekly spirit salon. She offers spiritual counseling and performs weddings and other ceremonies. So if you are in need, Deborah is the one. Deborah serves as vision keeper as well for Unity Earth. So let me introduce the beautiful heart, Deborah Moldow.
Thank you so much, Barbara. And thank you to Diane, Marie Williams, and all of the representatives of the Source of Synergy Foundation that have brought us together for this gift of synergy today. That it's my honor to bring to a close. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you who are still on this call. It's been a long program together, and I know that it is the power of synergy that has kept us together in not only in coherence, but in a sense of higher purpose that we all share. So I'd like to invite everybody now, first of all, to make sure you're on gallery view. So Becky can maybe help us with that. Make sure we're on gallery view so we can see one another for our closing.
At the top right of your screen. The top right of your
Radiant faces, please put on your video if you don't have your video on so we can see each other. Everybody come into presence here. Because what I would like us to do is be in a circle holding hands. So feel the people, look into the shining eyes of everybody on your screen, and feel us together as the light reflected from that mirror ball of one soul that Anita Moorjani spoke to us about. See each other as doves of light, bringing peace to this earth. And now I'm going to invite everybody to unmute yourself as well. And let's take a moment together to envision what we are bringing to our troubled world. And let's take a moment and shout out together the words of love, light, peace, joy, whatever it is that's overflowing in your heart right now. So we're going to unmute it. We're going to say these all together in just a cacophony of delight. And when you're done, bring your hands to your heart and we'll close. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready to be doves of light? Okay, what are you gonna bring?
Love, happiness, now, gratitude, compassion, joy,
abundance,
laughter,
love.
Thank you.
Gratitude.
Laughter.
Gratitude.
Thank you all for being together today in this first program of the gift of synergy. And let us go forth, uplifting one another, knowing that we can change the world because we are the light of love and all of those other qualities that we are bringing forward in this season of light. And let us hold the light of the final night of Hanukkah tonight, of the coming solstice and the miraculous alignment of the planets.
Final night of Hanukkah for your birthday.
And our birthday.
And yours too.
And I have birthday tomorrow. And the solstice that is coming, and Christmas, and finally a new year. So let us hold together and let us just say together in closing, thank you.